Hi there, thanks for clicking on my video, and today we are going to talk about a very interesting topic, that is, do you trust your husbands? Yes, this is my topic for today, and I'm quite sure that it's really going to be very interesting topic for you. And because I just believe in one thing, that every woman has to go through this process of doubting their husbands. This is exceedingly prevalent issue, and no one can say that they have never doubted their husband in their lifetime. It's really very difficult to find out the person who has never harbored doubt in their husbands. So today we are going to talk about it. We will delve deeper inside the topic and will know lots of things about this topic. Okay, so before we get inside it, before we get into it, I would like to tell you my own story for today. Now, one question is there, that your doubt, was it a momentary thing, or you have developed a habit of doubting your husband? We'll know about it, but first my story. So after marriage, my husband became my entire world, and I would not even think of sharing him with anybody. I remember that if he used to talk to any person, I mean not person, if he used to talk to any girls of my relatives or in the family, or in the neighborhood, I used to get upset a lot. Sometimes I would throw a kind of fit, whenever I find him looking at some pretty girls, So I would be like, how can it be possible, when I was right there? My unusual and irritational behavior, it led him to keeping things from me. And once I find out, I heard from somewhere that he had just, given a kind of ride to a girl. And this girl was need to go to the hospital, and my husband, he gave her a ride because no one was there to help her out, and it was very important for her to, very urgent for her to reach the hospital. And she could not find any conveyance, so she has to take a ride from my husband. Later on, when I found out the truth, the whole day I spent in arguing and fighting with my husband, Why did you give ride to this guy, without letting me know? As the time passed, I started knowing him. I started knowing his behavior, his attitude, his perspective, his temperament. After knowing a lot, I started, developing a kind of trust on him. I have also realized one thing, that in society, you need to play different roles, but your love, your trust remains for one person, that is your husband. It remains really reserved for one person, that's your husband, your spouse. So today we are going to talk about this topic, whether you doubt your husband or not. So before I get into the topic, let me tell you one thing very clearly, that there are two aspects of it, the discussion which really I want to delve into. There are two aspects, there are two parts of it. First thing is that, it is possible that your husband is really cheating on you. That is totally different aspects, It's very common and it happens. I'm not denying that this kind of thing does not happen. It happens, and this is something where I'm not going to talk about, because when you find out something, your trust, it's really it's shattered, it's messed up. So many things happens to it, and you cannot, you don't have the ability to build your trust again. So I'm not going to discuss that part, that is really a kind of red flag for you. But today my topic is, there are so many women, they develop a kind of suspicion, a kind of doubt on their husband without any base. So I'm going to talk about this thing, that if you develop a kind of habit of doubting your husband without any strong base, without any real things, every time you are going to just try out your husband, you are just going to restrict your husband for not doing this thing or that thing. So I'm going to talk about that aspect. Okay, so this is also very important. I think most of the women, they should know about it, that they also put a lot of restriction on their husbands just because they develop this kind of habit of doubting. This should not be acceptable. I think this is really bad for your relationship. So I'm gonna talk about this aspect, not about that aspect. Okay, so let's talk about it. First thing is that if most of the women have this complaint that my husband looks at other women and they appreciate other women. So let me tell you one thing very frankly, that it is very common thing to appreciate the beauty. It is the normal human behavior, human nature, and it happens. It doesn't mean that your husband is turning flirtatious or he is being unfaithful to you. Let me tell you very clearly. And it's very common thing, because always we judge our husband for looking at other people. What if you keep yourself in place of your husband, you will also see the thing, because you also do the same thing. Sometimes when somebody comes in front of you and you are not able to put your eyes off, sometimes it happens, in very normal thing. So we are discussing something the hardcore reality. So that's why don't get hurt and put yourself in place of your husband. For your everything is okay. Whatever you do, it's okay. If you're admiring somebody, if someone handsome comes in front of you, you cannot just keep your eyes off, looking at that person. So same thing is with your husband too. If your husband is looking at someone, maybe that person is really beautiful, it's okay. It's okay. But you should not think that your husband is getting flirtatious or your husband is unfaithful to you. It is really very natural thing to look at other people. Just like you might have noticed some actor or actress in a movie without any romantic intention. There's no any romantic intention when you're appreciating somebody, It's just a common thing. It's very natural and real thing. And it happens. But there are some women, they find it very difficult to tolerate when their husbands are looking at beautiful women. It should not be the thing, Just keep in mind that he should be simply appreciating the beauty without any harmful intention. I'm quite sure about it. You have heard this, adage which goes like this, that a thing of beauty is a joy forever. So it's okay. It's very natural to look at other women. If husband is looking at other women, he has not developed any flirtatious sense or any things, any romantic intention to approach to that lady. It's okay. Just look at that woman. It's okay, just looking at that women and then you are just turning off. That's the thing. Every couple, they define their own relationship, their own threshold. Remember, things never work out for you if you really want to tie your husband, if you want to limit your husbands. So I know this kind of things, it becomes very difficult to navigate through the whole thing. When you are tying up your husband, when you are keeping in a kind of restriction, not to talk to anybody, and you just have a kind of possession over your husband, saying that you are my thing, which I used to do initially. That kind of attitude, it really makes you difficult, to navigate through, to go through, to develop a kind of attitude where you are, making a kind of relationship with your husband. So what happened? Last year I went to a RTO office and there I spotted my friend's husband actually, and he was with another woman. So I didn't know that woman, and my friend's husband, when he saw me, he was little, maybe in a kind of awkward situation. So after exchanging greetings and after a brief chat, he just leaned in and said, he was like, I just want to have a kind of favor from you. Listen, don't tell my wife that I'm here with another woman. And I really felt a little awkward, just to hear this thing. So he said that this lady is actually my friend's wife, and my friend died 2 months ago, and I sometimes help this family with the small things, and I have come to renew her license, but don't tell your friend about it, because she really create a kind of nuisance. She always doubts me. She have a kind of suspicion all the time. So that's why please don't tell your friend about it, because she's really going to create a kind of scene. She's tend to create scenes over minor issues. So I said, okay brother, I have no problem, but now later on I was really compelled to think that who is responsible for all this mess. Who is responsible for all these complicated issues, So the thing is that, when you are not trusting your husband for small issues, he is going to hide things from you. And this is very natural, You always have this complaint that my husband does not tell me everything. But if you're reacting on small issues, I really think that women are responsible for this kind of thing to happen. Their husband are hiding their things from them because they really create a kind of nuisance. They really, after coming to know the fact, they really create scenes, drama. So husbands are not always responsible for things, If they are keeping things from you, if they are hiding things from you, some way or other, you can be responsible for this thing. Just peep inside you and try to find out why your husbands are not telling you the truth. Why they are avoiding to tell you the truth. Maybe you are responsible for all this kind of messing things. Look, one thing, if your husband is doing something behind your back, not telling you, you are responsible for it. But if your husband is doing something which is really unacceptable, and constantly he is doing something, making you fool, and strategically, convincing you for something which has happened, and is turning and giving and molding it, to give it a new, new story, cooking up new stories. So there it is a kind of red flag, and you are not going to accept it. But women, they are in the habit of assuming things. If their husband talk to some lady, if their husband talk to some girl, if they have their husband, looked at some pretty girls or some normal girls, you create a kind of ruckus. You start creating scene. You start assuming a lot of things, which really does not let you remain in peace. So it is better not to get into this kind of thing which really disturb your mental peace. We have a group of friends, 8 or 9 couples together. So sometimes we have a kind of get together. Sometimes we go for some parties. And when they drink in the party, now it's very common to drink in the party. They actually loosen up a bit. When they're together, they're chilling out, they're spending time together, they're enjoying, their drink. And when they drink, they tend to loosen up a bit. They start singing, or sometime, they would hold the hands of their wife and they will dance around, they will sing together. And sometimes they compliment to another wives too, sometimes they give compliment to another wives too. You say like, how lucky you are now, you got such a nice wife, अरे भाभी जी की तो बात ही अलग है, देखो भाभी जी की तो बात ही अलग है, भाभी जी कितना केयर करती है तुम्हारी, और एक मेरी वाइफ है देखो. So it's a kind of very normal, very friendly way. They all are talking, they all are discussing. There's no any harmful intention to hurt anybody. Even, you know, wives, they don't lag behind. They also tease their husband, you know, sometimes. अरे भैया की तो बात ही अलग है, इनकी तो बात अलग है, इनको देखो कि हर ओकेजन पे आपको गिफ्ट देते हैं, बट मेरे हस्बैंड की तो बात ही मत पूछो, कभी गिफ्ट ही नहीं देते. So, you know, these kind of dialogues, when they come with, their intention is not bad, because they really want to enjoy the situation. Everything is happening, you know, in a very light and entertaining situation. Nobody's intention is to hurting other people. It's very healthy thing. Nobody is going to cross the boundaries. Nobody is going to cross the limits, you know, doing something bad which is really, really unacceptable. But some women find it very hard to adjust even in such situations. Because, you know, when the moment they come out from the party, in the party it's okay that they always put a kind of smile, you know, on their face. It's a kind of put on, you know, it's kind of put on their face, you know, always smiling and showing your broadness, your generosity, you know, letting your husband mingling up with other ladies and all. But the moment they come out of the party, you know, they start creating scene, they start fighting with their husband. So in my group, there's a lady, you know, always does the same thing, you know. She's not ready to accept that her husband is going to you know, to appreciate somebody else or talk to another woman, and she always have a kind of doubt on her husband. This is not really acceptable, because I find that, you know, after getting this kind of thing and after you know, enjoying with our friends group, you know, I find that everybody is really want to enjoy, want to have the real pleasure of life. Sometimes they do this kind of thing, but not you know, breaking the boundaries. They appreciate somebody else, or go to some extent to do something which might not be acceptable. I mean, if you know the intention of that person is not wrong, if you know that person from the core of his, you know, personality, if you know that this person by nature is very good, you know, maybe they tend to loosen up a bit due to the drink and all, but, you know, if you find that everything is happening in a very normal and nice way, something is acceptable to some extent. If they are talking a lot, if they are appreciating a lot, if they are doing something which is you know, in a kind of joke, a kind of banter, then it is okay. But the moment you find that somebody is crossing the limit, you know, you are in the party and you are accepting everything which is happening in you know, in the party. And if you find that something is happening which is not acceptable, then it is okay to raise your voice and to tell them that, look, I don't like this kind of behavior. But if you find that everybody is enjoying, everybody in their free will, you know, they want to enjoy the moment, then it's really okay. You know, even in my family get-together, sometimes when we sit together or we have a kind of get together, so my husband would appreciate my sister-in-law saying that, you know, sometimes I think that I married wrongly, you know, I should have married to you. And everybody would laugh about it. Even I would be also you know, laughing about it. Even I would be also laughing about it. So I would also turn around and say that I wish you had married her, you know. I would have saved, you know, I would have, my life would have spared, you know, for being your wife and just going through this kind of trouble. And, you know, then he would turn around and say something. So everybody would laugh. It would become a kind of banter, you know. Everybody's appreciating. Everybody's joining, you know, with their jokes and, you know. The whole environment becomes a kind of very light and very, you know, a kind of banter things happens. And, you know, it would be a kind of big joke. Nobody's getting hurt. It's a kind of healthy things. And it's very healthy, you know, But if you are angry, saying that, what did you say? What did you say? You shouldn't have married to me. Why did you say in front of my bhabhi? आपको तो ऐसे बोलना ही नहीं चाहिए था, आपने पार्टी में ऐसे बोल दिया, तो आपको जरा सोच समझ के बोलना चाहिए था. तो ये सारी चीजें जब हो जाती है ना, तो इट्स लाइक हस्बैंड ऑल्सो स्टार्ट हाइडिंग थिंग्स फ्रॉम देयर वाइफ. वो अपने आप को थोड़ा कंट्रोल में रखता है. आई शुडंट हैव tell this kind of thing in front of my wife, she might take it otherwise. तो ये तो आपके ऊपर डिपेंड करता है. It depends on you how you are reacting. If you're reacting like this, it's very very natural. The husband is really not going to crack any joke in front of you, thinking that you might arise a kind of ruckus. So इसलिए आपको क्या करना है कि you have to take it very lightly. Even you should include in this kind of what do you call it, kind of joke, and with something is happening like this. I remember that I used to go to my son's parents meeting. My husband and me, we used to go to attend parents meeting, and then this was the class teacher of my son. He used to be very handsome, and whenever I used to see him, now I used to thrown off, thinking how handsome he is. And without realizing, I used to get a bit of flirtatious in the sense, maybe I'm reacting in a different way, trying to be extra polite or turning to my charming self, just to show. And it's for a momentary thing. So my husband, throughout he's noticing everything, because he knows me in and out. So perhaps, he would crack a joke, saying that, I think you should come to submit the project tomorrow. I think you love the class teacher a lot. Same thing used to happen to my husband too. Sometimes when we would go for a parents meeting of a daughter or son, and the class teacher, if she is so beautiful, my husband will keep on steering her or talking to her, not in a bad intention, just in a light manner and talking. So I would say, I will take a kind of, I would just crack a kind of joke, saying that you were taking a lot of interest, so I think, you should come and just attend the parents meeting. So he would say, yeah, she's so beautiful, so I think that from now on I'm going to come and attend the parents meeting. So it's a kind of joke, it's a kind of light and entertaining behavior, where you know each other well, where you know where your boundaries are, where you have a deep trust to each other, in each other. It's really appreciable when you know each other, when you respect each other, when you understand each other's temperament, each other's behavior, each other's pattern of dealing with people, each other's dislikes, then this doubt thing should not happen. And I also believe in one thing, that different people have different personalities. If your husband is really very social, and you just want to remain in a kind of private, you just want to remain in a kind of seclusion, you are not enjoying the company of other people, like in the case of me and my husband, he is more social. And in my case, what happens, that I really like to live in a peace. I'm not very easy to deal with people. I'm not very easy mingling up with people. I'm not very easy to to have a kind of social gathering. But in my husband case, he really very jovial person. He likes to spend time with people around him. So that is why you have to be a little supportive in the case when you find that your husband is of different nature and he likes to enjoy the company of people. You should be a little supportive, but you should also keep in mind that his extra freeness should not make you uncomfortable. When you are uncomfortable, when you are not feeling good, it's not that you are doubting your husband, but when you are feeling uncomfortable, you should straightly talk to your husband that this thing of yours is making me uncomfortable. I don't want you to involve in this. It's okay, but you don't restrict your husband. Don't try to tie up your husband, whatever you want him to do. Don't do it. Just be a little positive in dealing with all these kind of things which is happening around you. Set your rules and boundaries only when you find that water is going above your head. If something is fishy, but it actually does not happen, you know. If everything is okay, if your husband is jovial, he likes to be in the company of people, then it is okay. But if you find it something, it's not going according to your the easy pattern, the usual pattern, then it's a kind of thing where you can have a kind of talk to your husband, have a kind of talk with your husband, just sit and talk about it and tell him that you are not comfortable with the pattern of behavior which he has adopted. But if you know him very well from a very beginning, then it is okay, you know that it's not harmful, his behavior is not harmful, it's okay, it's really acceptable, then please go on doing it. Just be honest in the relationship. Make sure that you should share everything with your husband, you know, and even you want your husband to share everything with you. You should be a kind of open books, you know. Here I want to talk about one more thing, that is, you know, going through your husband's phone. So if you find that your husband is not very conscious about his phone, has not put any lock onto the phone, you know, it's okay. First of all, you have a kind of check on yourself that what causes you to check your husband's phone. Because if both of you are very transparent to each other, if both of you respect each other, if both of you are not hiding anything from each other, it's okay. It's not necessary for you to go and check your husband's phone. Just if you're checking your husband's phone, something is there inside you. Just think that what causes me to go and take his phone in your hand, you know. It is my own suspicion, or whether I am feeling insecure about myself. Maybe it is your insecurities, you know, which is leading you, which is, leading you to check your husband's phones, which is really thrusting you to go and to have a kind of check on your phone, on your husband's phone. So it is better not to, to look at it. But I suppose that every person needs a little privacy of their own. And intruding in your husband's privacy is not a good thing. It's a kind of, you know, sneaky date. Just put yourself in place of your husband. What do you want? Do you want your phone to be checked every time by your husband? No, you would not want this thing to happen. Why? Because you don't have anything to hide, but still you want to maintain your own privacy. Sometimes it happens that there are something which maybe you are not able to explain. I mean there is something, you know, every time you are not in a condition to explain to your husband. Maybe your for example, I'm giving you for example, if you have some very cordial relationship with your colleague, maybe this person has started messaging you in a good intention, in a very nice intention. This person has started sending you videos or sharing his thoughts or something like that, and you know your limitation. You know that this person is having a very good relationship with me, and but you cannot make your husband understand this. You cannot explain the whole thing, telling him the every little detail about your relationship with your colleague, you know, saying that, you know, we are honest and we don't have anything to hide and all. So it is okay. It's okay that not to reveal your thing every time in front of your husband. So this is a small privacy, you know, that everybody should have. It's not that always, you know, if you're hiding your things, you're hiding your phone, if you're not letting your husband to check on your phone, it doesn't mean that you are in a bad relationship, or you are unfaithful to your wife or husband, or you are cheating on your husband. There are so many other things too, which needs a kind of explanation, and every time you are not, you don't want to get through this explanation thing. So this is okay, you know, little privacy on everybody's part, you know, whether it's husband or wife, it's very needed, you know, it's very essential. So eventually we need to realize one thing, that supporting each other, trusting each other, and being honest in the relationship is very, very essential to create a kind of strong, bond. So in my case, let me tell you one thing, my husband never went through my phone, never asked me anything, because he has a kind of deep trust in me. So this is the solid base of your relationship. When you are trusting each other, when you are relying on each other, when you are supporting each other for your, for the relationship to be evolved. So that was all for today. I hope you enjoyed my video, and if you have something to say, if you have to share your thoughts, and if you want to comment, please just comment on the comment box. I'm really waiting for your comment to come. Thanks for watching my video.